Hello, you guys. I have been looking forward to this module 6, and this is why. Because all people that I work with, all the clients that I work with, the hundreds of thousands of people I have taught, one of the biggest challenges that people run into is being able to actually get the action items done. Every little step, each of the things that I've taught you in each of these videos, maybe a video will have 3 points or 4 points or 6 points. Each of those specific things are not that hard to do. They're pretty easy. They're something anyone can do, but actually doing it, getting it done, why don't we do it? Because we get busy, because we get distracted, whatever. This is the module that is going to help you see the success that you have been wanting to see in your business. If you know the right actions to take, then the only thing that needs to happen is you're taking them on a regular basis. But how do you do that when you're already busy, when you already have so much going on? So that's what we're going to talk about today, because the I in Maverick is for intentional use of time. And that includes all the things that you put your energy to, all the things that you are going to focus on. We need to know how to manage our time. And if we don't make that intentional, we don't know how to do it the right way, then I will tell you right now, you will stumble and stumble and stumble and scramble in your business and constantly wonder why you are not successful. So a lot of the things I teach are about how to grow your business. This isn't exactly growing your business. This isn't bringing in leads. This isn't very specifically doing the 4 categories: bringing in leads, converting those leads, ascending your customers, and retaining your customers. It doesn't fall into those categories. It's one of those outside pieces, but it is probably, of the outside pieces, the most important thing that will contribute to the 4 steps that do grow your business. And when I work with people, this changes their lives. So I'm going to ask you to trust me. Whatever you've done before, unless it is working perfectly and you are having every piece of success that you want, you have all the free time you want, you spend as much time with your family as you want, you have time for vacations, you are not married to your job. If that is you, then keep doing what you're doing. But that is not you. And you absolutely need one of those things. Something is missing in one of those pieces we just mentioned. Then I want you to listen carefully. I want you to do exactly what I teach you. You guys, I have clients who pay me a lot of money to have me help them do this very thing. So be serious about this. You invested in yourself. You got this program. So now I want you to actually do this. I'm telling you, all the other things that I've been teaching you and that I will keep teaching you the rest of this course are going to fall into place if you know how to do this. So if you try to fudge it, if you just do a couple of the things, but you don't do the system, then you will see some progress. But if you want to see immediate change, overnight change in your business and in your growth of your business and in your success, then you follow this exactly the way I'm teaching, because we're going to break the rules. Some of the things that you've heard, some of the ways that people do it, we are not going to be doing it that way. In fact, some of the things we're going to be doing the exact opposite, and we're abiding by true principles that make the change. So we are breaking the rules. We're not going to do it the way everyone else does it, because 95% of the people, because 1% of the population is crazy successful, and the other top 4% are very affluent. And so the 95% that are left are either paycheck to paycheck, they're living off, their regular means. They are not in a place where they have a lot of freedom. And so we don't want to copy what everyone else is doing. We're breaking the rules. We're doing it differently. Okay, so here we go. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do your weekly schedule. And you want to do this every single week, at the beginning of every week, whether you do it Sunday, Monday, but it has to be at the very beginning. I like to do mine on Sunday, because then I'm not wasting my time on Monday. Sunday is a family day. It's a day where we're going over the calendar, figuring out who's doing what. We kind of make sure that our schedules are aligned, that we're all on the same page, so that we can spend time together through the week, and that we know what, like my husband might have things that I'm going to be attending with him. I might have things that I want him to come with me. There are times when we have different appointments or different things where we're not going to be in the same places at the same time. And evenings we like to spend together, but sometimes something's happening in an evening. We like to know what that looks like. So I like to go over that on Sunday. You decide when is best for you. I want to tell you first an example of when we use the system I'm about to share with you with a client of mine. She has I'm not even sure I'll tell you how many children. I'll tell you how many, but I won't tell you what their gender, just because I don't want anyone to identify who this is. But I have a client she has 3 children. She is an excellent, excellent mother. She and her husband are amazing with those kids. They are good at disciplining their kids. They're good at making sure they have family time. They're truly, truly very good at this. And I'm ultra picky because to me, it's about the actions we take and the consequences. There are positive and negative consequences for everything we do, including disciplining our children. And I know what those are. This is what I have gotten really good at. And psychology is my background, so that naturally helps with all the things that I teach my clients. Well, these guys are really good at it. So she's building her business. She wants to make sure she puts her family first, but her business starts growing. She's becoming very successful. And what's happening is it's starting to take over her time. So now she'd been my client. We'd grown her business to be crazy successful. And we've become close friends, of course. By the time she came to me, and this is after we hadn't been spending as much time together because she's independent. She knows what she's doing. She's successful. She's gone doing her thing. And then she came to me one day and she said, Teresa, I have to talk to you. And we started talking and she got emotional. She started crying and she said, one of my sons at school is starting to get into trouble. Everything was fine. He was so well behaved. He was really obedient. We had great relationship. And all of a sudden over the last little while, several months, and maybe even into almost like 8, 9 months, almost a year, she said, we've noticed little changes, little things that are happening. And he's starting to have attitude. Of course, he's becoming a teenager. We want him to have some independence, but he's starting to act out. He's starting to be really defiant with us. He's acting out at school, acts like he doesn't care. All these behaviors and personalities and different things that are coming out and attitudes that were not their normal child. And of course, every child goes through transitions as they grow, but this was unusual. It was beyond normal. And she was really worried. And I started asking her more questions about her time and her situation with her family. Now, remember how I told you guys that when I'm helping someone with their business, 80% of what we end up spending time on inadvertently is belief, is mindset, is psychological stuff that creates the success that we need to have. Of course, you need the skills. The skills are extremely important. But if you know the skills, but you're not doing them, why aren't you doing them? Maybe you don't know the skills and we need to teach you the skills. Of course, that's what we're going to do. So this was her situation. So I asked her a whole bunch of questions to find out more. And as we talked, I knew exactly what needed to happen. Her son was lashing out because he was not feeling safe in the environment anymore. He did not have the time he needed with his mom, with his dad. He was needing more, what's the word? He was needing more influence from his parents. That's what he needed. And I was pretty sure that was what it was, but I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I'll call her Sarah, so I don't accidentally say the name. So I said, okay, Sarah, this is what we're going to do. I said, we are going to create this system with your time. And I walked her through exactly what I'm about to show you. And I said, this is what we're going to do. And I said, I don't care. Some people like to organize their time. Some people don't like to feel like they're tied to a certain thing on their calendar. It's okay. Doesn't matter what type of person you are, this will work. And there might be some things that you don't love doing, but you'll just do them for a period of time. You won't have to do it indefinitely. Okay. You're just going to do it till you create certain habits. So I laid this all out for her. We worked it out together. And the way we set it up was that in the morning, when you are with your kids, I said, what time do they leave for school in the morning? And what time do they come back from school at night? What time is he at his sports activities where he's doing his practicing, because they attend all the sports events. But I said, so what are the times he's at practice when you don't need to be there? Those kinds of things. We laid it all out, and her day was with her kids in the morning until they left for school. I don't remember, I'm making this up, about 8 in the morning. It was about 8 in the morning. So when her kids left for school, and she drove them to school. And then during the day, they were all at school because they were that age. And then they came home at, I think it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 in the afternoon is when she picked them up, unless they had practice. And so we set up her schedule doing what I'm going to teach you. And I said, you are not allowed to do any business You're not allowed to take a phone call from anyone. I don't care how urgent it is. You are going to teach your people in your business that from 8 and like from the time you get up until 8 in the morning, you are not available. That is your family time. And from 3 o'clock, the minute you are with your kids, you are not taking any calls. I don't care what that looks like. She and her husband did the business together. I said, when you need to do trainings, when you need to do whatever, either you or your husband are with the kids always. Normally, obviously it's okay for them to have someone else or a babysitter or whatever. But in a situation like this, we need to get back to status quo before we go back to normal. We needed to resolve a situation that was happening and a problem. And so, and I told her, I said, when do you leave for school with the kids? And she said, well, I leave at 8. I'm like, okay, so you're in the car with them on the way to school? She said, yes. I said, you're not allowed to take calls on the phone. You are not allowed to. And, of course, I established that I had permission with her to lay this out for her. I don't just start ordering her around, but we figured it out. I got her permission to, do you want to do this? And she's like, yeah, okay. I said, this is what we're going to do. And every time they were together, I said, on Saturdays, you are not allowed to be on the phone. I said, we'll get to a place where maybe you have a couple hours on Saturday or whatever. I said, what do you want your schedule to be like? Do you want to work every Saturday? She said, no, I want to be with my family. But she said, but so-and-so needs this and this is happening and everybody needs all these things, whatever. So we established the schedule the way I'm going to show you. And it's very, very specific and super simple, super easy. So we did this. And so what started happening is the time that she was with her kids in the morning, guess what? She's not worried about who's calling. What's happening? I got to get my phone, whatever. What she's doing is she's 100% with her kids. When she picks them up from school, how was your day? It's not like, hold on, honey, just a second, I'm almost off the phone. And so she did this. I said, you do it like it is life or death. And so she did this. And in 3 days, it was 2 or 3 days, I'm going to say 3 just to be more conservative. 3 days later, she called me. She was totally crying. She said, Teresa, already there's a huge difference. He's smiling again. He's happy again. She said, I cannot believe what is happening. And now the biggest worry when we were going over her calendar was, yeah, but I have all this stuff to do with work. Well, she now had to fit it into certain very specific hours. And I showed her how to work it out so that the way that I'm going to show you, and you're like, hurry up, just get to it, we're ready. But what happened was she was able to get more done during the hours because of what I showed her. And she now had free time during the day before her kids came home or whatever. That was her time to do what she wanted. It is crazy, you guys. And it just got better from there. She could not believe how quickly that happened. And this, I could share with you story after story after story where I have helped people with this very thing that I'm going to teach you right now. So I wanted to share that story so that you would be invested and go, okay, I believe now. Just tell me what to do. So the very first thing you're going to do is you are going to print off the weekly the schedule. I have created a weekly schedule that will be so easy to do this with, so that you're not scrambling to try to find the right one. If you have a certain one that you love, great, but it needs to allow you to do all of these things. Now, I've shared with you guys, I don't even remember if it's this training or not, but I have a hard copy calendar. I like it small so it can fit in my bag or whatever, and I don't want a big old thing, but I've discovered I need a hard copy as well. Of course, I have all my digital stuff. My assistant takes care of that, but I need my hard copy so that I can see that I am balancing my time well. Otherwise, I can't tell, because if I can see 1 month at a time on my computer, then I might be able to see most of what's happening each day, but I don't see if I have enough time with my family, enough time for physical stuff, enough time for the different things I need to do, enough time for me where I'm not just giving all my time away. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. Now, even though I have a digital calendar, which my assistant takes care of, I have this calendar, which I refer to make sure I don't miss anything. And I also can use this to look at a glance for 3 months ahead. It's easier to go, hey, can we schedule a family cruise? When can we schedule a family cruise? And I'm like looking through and I can see at a glance, like if I look at it on the digital calendar, I might be able to go, oh yeah, that week is open. That week for sure is open. Or if we're going for 2 weeks or whatever. But what happens then? I didn't realize, oh, I had 3 days of a break before we leave for the cruise. And right before that, I had a huge event. And 2 days before that, I had a huge event. I can't see the whole thing. And then what happens is I overbook myself. So I've learned that that's the way I am because I love to help. I want to serve. And people say, hey, we need you in Israel so that you can come do this training. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm free. Okay. So it depends on what works for you. But I will say this, for this week's calendar, I need you to have it printed out in front of you, hanging up somewhere. I don't care what. I even have it, even though I have this, because I need to be able to see what my schedule is for the entire week. And this is something that what you'll do is you'll do a new one at the beginning of each week. And at first it will take some time to write it all in the very first time. After that, it gets super simple, super fast. So this is what's going to happen. First of all, you need to make sure that you write down all the priorities. And you'll notice when you print out this sheet, it'll have the weekly calendar, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then at the very top of the sheet, it will have blank lines. This is where you need to fill in your priorities. Every single thing that is important to you. If it's important to you, it goes on that list. And the other thing is, it's funny, when I first started doing this with people, I would tell them they just need to write down their priorities. And then all their priorities were about work, or all their priorities were about their physical, getting exercise and making sure they didn't include any time for family, or maybe it was all family and work. It needs to be well-rounded. So let me tell you the different categories that you need to include. All of your priorities that go in the top of this sheet, they have to include all 5 categories. If you don't have at least one thing from each of these 5 categories, you are not balancing your life. You need to make sure that there's one from each of these 5. Number 1 is physical. That would include exercise. It would include walking with your friends or whatever, anything that helps you do something physical that is good for your body. Make sure that you include something physical. Number 2, mental. You need to include something that helps your mental health to be something that contributes to your life instead of detracts from it. We've got to make sure you're mentally healthy. That will include things like education, intellectual stuff that you need to do, personal development. It will include emotional well-being. So, and it's personal development. All of those things are included in educational, in the mental piece of this, because right now there is so much in the world. We're having a pandemic of mental health challenges right now. And I believe a large portion of that, of course, it's how we eat. There are a lot of factors, but one of the factors is we have never really paid attention and learned how to make sure that we're balancing our lives and what's expected of us and our goals and the dreams, all the stuff, all the things that are in our mind that we want to do, that we feel like we have to do, that our responsibilities, our obligations, the things we love, we don't know how to balance those. So you need to make sure you include that. Number 3 is spiritual. Now, this is something that I like to tell, because I am a religious person. Not everybody is. It's okay if you're not a religious person, but spiritual research has actually shown, even with researchers who are agnostic or they're, atheist, they have proven that we need to fulfill something in our spiritual side, that part of us that is the intuition, our desires to do good, that piece of us that is spiritual. So no matter what your belief system is, you need to include something that is whatever spiritual is for you. Make sure you include something there. I don't care if that's meditative walks out in nature, if it's going to church, if it's reading your scriptures, if it's studying Buddha, whatever that is, include something spiritual. The 4th one, no, let's see, what are we on? 1, 2, yeah, that's 3. Number 4 is relationships. We need to make sure a lot of people call it social. I call it relationships because it's not just about being social. I don't like that term. That term is a great term for other things, but for what I need for my life to be balanced is my relationships with my family, my relationships with my friends, all of those relationships, my relationship with myself, all of it. We need to include something in your calendar that is going to make sure that you are taking time for you in that area, bettering yourself in that area. And the 5th one is financial. anything you need to do about financial, doing your budget, watching over your money, checking your spending, doing whatever you have to do with your bank, doing your stuff like the financial with your business, whatever that looks like. So you need to make sure you include all 5 of those things. And what you're going to do is write those at the very top on those blank spots. Every priority that you can think of. So for example, some of mine that are on the top of mine are my date with Roger. I want to do a date with my husband every single week. Time with family, making sure I have phone calls with my family members, my kids and their families who don't live near me, that I don't get to see very often. I have music. Music is really important to me. I do musical theater and I love it. And it's something that sometimes I will put that on the back burner because of my business, but I don't want to put it on the back burner forever. So I want to make sure that I am practicing my music, doing my singing, whatever. I love that. And I don't want that to not be a part of my life. My exercise, my daily exercise is in there. My reading of my scriptures, my making sure that I do the things that I want to do in my church, because I have jobs in my church that I want to make sure I fulfill. So a good way to think about this is anything that if you didn't do it for 5 years, would you regret it? If you would regret it, if you didn't do it for 5 years, then you need to put it on this list. And so you'll have a lot of random things, but you'll be surprised. You'll fill it in, and when you first hear this, you'll see the calendar and you'll go, wait a minute, I don't have enough time. There's not enough space in there. There usually will be enough space. Almost everyone I've ever worked with, there's plenty of space. You start to write things in and you start to realize, oh, time with family, that's a big category. Time with my friends, whatever. So put those in. I want you to write every single priority. So for example, if you did not spend time with your kids for 5 years, would you regret it? Yes. If you didn't spend time doing like let's say you play the piano. If you didn't spend time practicing your piano for 5 years, would you regret it? Yes, you would regret it. If I didn't go on a date with my husband or spend time with my husband for 5 years, would I regret it? Yes, I would totally regret it, because there is a huge problem in the business world today. And I hear it all the time. This is a place where we are throwing away the rules that everyone else tells us that these are the rules. We are breaking those rules. We're creating new rules because those rules don't work. And it's this. You'll hear this all the time in presentations and trainings, because they talk about how you have to sacrifice in order to achieve something great. So that's all good and that's all true. But somehow it has morphed into you have to sacrifice your priorities in order to be successful. Sometimes you have to sacrifice time with your family. Sometimes you have to sacrifice time with your friends. Sometimes you have to sacrifice the things that are important to you, or time with your grandkids. You have to sacrifice that because now is a time where you're working on this. But when you get to a certain place, now, you've made your sacrifice and now you can have the freedom to be with your family. That is a lie. It is a lie, and we are breaking that lie. We're breaking that rule. I'm telling you right now, you do not have to sacrifice those things, nor should you be sacrificing those things. I believe that most people sacrifice those things to find success because they've believed the rhetoric all these years. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do that. And it is exciting, because what if you could get crazy success without sacrificing those things? Well, guess what? I did. And I created $1 billion business. I know it can be done, and I know how to teach you how it can be done. I don't care what your goal is for your business. Maybe you're trying to hit your first 100,000 a year. Maybe you're trying to hit your first million. Maybe you're 10xing. Maybe you're ready. You're going from 1 to 10 million. It doesn't matter what that looks like. This works across the board. So don't get caught up in I have to sacrifice my priorities in order to be successful. It's not true. And I'm going to show you how that's going to be done. So your action item for this one, print out the calendar, list your priorities at the top. And of course, you know it. I want to hear about it. I want you to post in our group. I want to see what your priorities are. Tell me what some of those are. Tell me what some of them are that maybe it shocked you. You're like, oh, I know it's a priority, but I thought it was okay to sacrifice that for a while until I got to a certain point in my business, because I'm going to teach you how we don't have to. But I want to see it. I want to hear about it. Tell me your aha moment. What did you realize about your priorities? What did this training help you understand or help you see better or differently? All right, I'll see you in the next video.